Hello, my name is Lieu, and this is a presentation for Intro to Buddhism. Today, I will be presenting the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. I would also go into the Eightfold Path later on. I would first like to give a little background on Buddhism so that the concept of the Four Noble Truths is more easily understandable. Buddhism, like many other religions, is divided into a number of different traditions. However, most of these traditions share a common set of fundamental beliefs. One central belief of Buddhism is often referred to as reincarnation, the concept that people are reborn after dying. In fact, many individuals go through many cycles of birth, living, death, and rebirth. A practicing Buddhist knows the difference between the concept of rebirth and reincarnation. In reincarnation, the individual may reoccur repeatedly. In rebirth, a person does not necessarily return to Earth as the same entity ever again. A comparison of this would be a leaf growing on a tree. When a dying leaf falls off, a new leaf will eventually replace it. It is similar to the old leaf, but is not exactly the same. Buddhism is a philosophy of life created by Gautama Buddha. He is also referred to as Buddha, which means enlightenment. He lived and taught in northern India in the 6th century BC. The Buddha was not a god, and the philosophy of Buddhism does not believe in an almighty God, like other religions such as Christianity. The teachings of Buddha are aimed solely at liberating people from suffering and escaping the cycle of rebirth. This is where the Four Noble Truths come in. The Buddha's first sermon after his enlightenment was centered on the Four Noble Truths, which are the foundations of Buddhism. The Four Noble Truths explain and explore human suffering to understand why there is suffering and how to end suffering. The first noble truth, sorry if I pronounce this wrong, is dukkha, and this means that suffering exists. This first noble truth is the full understanding of suffering. Of course, people in the world understand what suffering is. They blame such unpleasant sensations such as hunger, cold, sickness, anything they're feeling that is like a burden to them. But the first noble truth includes awareness of all suffering, because it encompasses the very nature and essence of suffering. The subtle suffering that people miss in their daily lives is the suffering that begins with happiness. The reason that happiness is considered suffering is because happiness cannot continue forever. Thus, happiness turns into suffering. This first noble truth makes it clear that there is suffering in the world. Life is ultimately suffering, and suffering is actually real. Suffering can be many things, such as loss, sickness, pain, failure, or seeking immediate pleasures. All of the suffering can be contributed to the next noble truth, which is samudaya. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Samudaya just means that suffering is due to attachment. Attachment is not just defined as an attachment to materials, but is a desire to have or control things. It can take many forms, such as cravings of sexual pleasures or the desire for fame. It is a desire to avoid unpleasant sensations like fear, anger, jealousy. It may be just something very little, like the cravings for a certain type of food or dessert. These instant gratifications are only short-lived and cannot provide lasting happiness. Sorry. If a person has desires or hopes for something, there is always a chance for failure, and this will inevitably lead to suffering for that person. A personal example of this would be my hopes of getting into dental school. I have high hopes and desires to become a dentist. I put all this hard work into studying, and if I do not get into this class or into dental school, then this will cause me great suffering. Everyone has these attachments or desires in life. There is hope in all people, and this is not a bad thing, but it is the cause of all the suffering in the world. The next noble truth is nirodha, and this means that there is a way to end suffering. These attachments and desires can be overcome. We have control over suffering, because karma and the defilements take place within us. They're all inside of us. We create them. We experience them. For that reason, we do not need to depend on anybody else to remove the cause of suffering. We have the power to remove all negativity from our minds, thoughts, and body. The truth is that when we make bad actions, we are creating suffering in the world. So if I make a bad action that hurts somebody, that just causes more suffering in the world. The truth is, It also means if we abandon these bad actions, we remove the possibility of experiencing suffering in the future. What we experience is entirely in our hands. Therefore, the Buddha has once said that we should give up the causes of karma and defilements. Good actions result in the eternal state of happiness, and bad actions result in suffering. This idea is not particularly easy to grasp for many people because one cannot see the whole process taking place from beginning to end. You might not think there's like a cause and effect, but there really is in the world. One little thing that you do can drastically change another person or how they see their life. Suffering only ceases by reaching nirvana, which means reaching enlightenment. In the state of enlightenment, the mind has complete freedom. It is liberated and has no attachment. The mind lets go of any desires or cravings, and this means that suffering is ultimately gone. The last noble truth is Magga, and this just explains that people must follow the Eightfold Path to end suffering. This step is sometimes called the truth path because the path leads to the one and ultimate goal of reaching nirvana. The path to end suffering is gradually seeking self-improvement through the 8 elements. The Noble Eightfold Path is just like any other path to self-improvement. It occurs just step by step, stage by stage, until one completes the journey. For example, if a person wants to become smart, they put their time and the effort into studying and learning. It will not just happen overnight, so people will just have to endure the pain that comes with the path. A great saying in life today that is applicable to this is, nothing worth having comes easy and takes effort, or everyone would have it. The path to end suffering can extend over many lifetimes, throughout which every individual's rebirth is subject to karma. If you live a bad life and you have bad karma, then you'll ultimately rebirth as something that is not worthy in life. Cravings, ignorance, or other effects will gradually disappear as progress is made through each lifetime. This is why it is so hard to end suffering, because the Noble Eightfold Path is very gruesome to go through. I'm now going to go into more depth of the Noble Eightfold Path, because it is a part of the last Noble Truth. The Noble Eightfold Path can be depicted by the Dharma wheel pictured here. It should be right here. Where? There are 8 spokes, and each of the spokes of the Dharma wheel represent different steps that a person must follow if they want to end suffering and reach nirvana. Each of the 8 steps fall under 3 different categories. The 3 categories are Panna, Sila, and Samhita. Panna, which means wisdom. Sila means morality, and Samhita means concentration, or mental fortitude. Okay, the first step of the Noble Eightfold Path is right view, which is also called right understanding. And this step falls under Panna. Right view is a true understanding of the 4 Noble Truths. By right view, Buddha sees things in the right perspective, seeing things that they are without any false illusions or pretenses. It's just seeing the true nature of things without anything affecting you, any biases. A person needs to be able to make a personal connection in their life so that they can actually see the right view of nature. This is because it goes on a deeper level and they understand more. Knowing true reality is of very little value if it is not input into your personal life. What's the point of knowing something if it's not applied to your life, if you don't see it in your life? Because then you might not think it's real. Right view is the highest wisdom, which sees the ultimate reality. What we call knowledge is just accumulated memory that you have experienced, and this is not very deep. Right view is the right understanding and seeing of the true nature. And this is only possible through meditation. This meditation allows us to clear our minds of all impurities and allows us to think. The second step is called right thought, also called right intention. And this also falls under the category of Panna. This is a step where we will become committed to the path. Right understanding shows us that what life really is and what life's problems are composed of. Right intent urges us to decide what our heart really wants in life. Right intent must come from the heart because it involves recognizing the equality of life. It begins with yourself, and it is inner. It's all inside of you. To have right thought means to have the right intentions to free oneself from attachment, ignorance, and hate. It means to clear one's minds of selfish desires, and this is done by developing positive issues. Right view and right thought both fall under Panna because a person must have the wisdom to know how to think and see the world. The third step is called right speech, and it falls under the category Lieu, which means morality. Morality is defined as the distinction in choosing between right and wrong. Your morality is choosing to see if what you're doing is right or if it's wrong in the world, even if people don't think so. It's all within yourself. It's not like a social construct. Right speech means to refrain from telling lies and any speech that may bring about hate, disharmony, or gossiping. Everyone has said something hurtful that they wish they could take back. We tend to underestimate the power of the spoken word and often regret words said in the moment. A lesson to be told is that one should only speak at the right time and right place. I know I have said many things in just the heat of the moment and that have ruined relationships in my life. I don't remember. I didn't know how strong words were. I thought actions were a lot stronger, but words really do hurt. When a person refrains from these harmful actions, such as talking bad about somebody or gossiping or anything, they will naturally tell the truth. They'll become more true to themselves and to their word. The words that they use will be more friendly and meaningful. It pushes us closer to it, by not gossiping and everything. It pushes us closer to have a compassionate living. We just live a better life. Communication should be thoughtful and it should unite others. It should not separate people. It should just bring everybody together. It's a form of communication. So that's how we learn to talk to each other. And that's ultimately what right speech is, to say the right thing in the right time and not be harmful to others. The fourth step is right action, and it falls under the category Sila also. Right action means to abstain from hurtful behaviors or actions such as killing, stealing, or adultery. It recognizes the need to take the ethical approach in life to consider others in the world we live in. A personal example of this is that my car recently got broken into, and I wish those people would have thought about right actions because they would have thought about how it affected me. I understand it was really materialistic, but it's still hard on yourself to have something you have taken away from you. Right action also encompasses the 5 precepts which were given by the Buddha: not to kill, steal, lie, to avoid sexual misconduct, and to not take drugs or any other intoxicants such as alcohol. It aims to promote moral, honorable, and peaceful conduct. Refraining from these actions will promote kindness in life. Right action also means to help others lead more honorable life in a right way. I hope my right action, or me living in the right way, will just set an effect of people following my footsteps. Hopefully if I do something good, they will follow because they feel it's good karma in the world. The 5th step is right livelihood, and this falls under the category of Sila. Right livelihood means to support yourself without harming others. If your work has a lack of respect for life, then it will be a barrier to the progress of the spiritual path. Buddhism promotes the principle of equality of all living beings and respect for life. This means to make a living through a profession that does not bring harm to other things such as people or animals. An example of this would be refrain from selling lethal weapons, killing animals, or drinking. One cannot expect to be on the path of good karma and reaching nirvana when one's job is hurting another individual. These 3 factors, right speech, right action, and right livelihood, constitute ethical conduct. They are aimed at promoting a happy and harmonious life for both the individual and for the society. It's supposed to affect everyone in the world. No spiritual development is possible without this moral basis, because we have to be a good person for the world to be a good person. The 6th step is right effort, and this falls under the category Samadhi, which means concentration and mental discipline through meditation. Samadhi is really like how you think about everything, how if you have the concentration to think about what is right in the world. Right effort is about the contents of a person's mind. It means to promote good things and conquer evil thoughts. It is the will to prevent evil states of mind from arising and to get rid of the already evil thoughts in our mind. Bad qualities or thoughts should be abandoned, while good thoughts should be nurtured. In order to produce right effort, clear and honest thoughts should be welcome, and the feelings of jealousy and anger should be left behind. Right effort equates to positive thinking and should be followed by focused action. People really have to see your efforts when you're doing something. Like, you have to really, why are you really being a good person? Like, it has to really come from inside. Because if not, if you're just trying to be a good person to gain something from it, then what is the point? Because you're really just, you're seeking personal gainment from it. So there's really no point. People should really just, like, truly mean to help somebody or to do something. The seventh step is right mindfulness. And it falls under the category of samadhi also. Right mindfulness means to be aware of one's body, mind, and feelings. Right mindfulness is also called, right effort that I previously discussed is a very easy concept for a lot to understand. It's because it's really inside of you, so you have to know the effort that you're putting out. Right mindfulness is somewhat trickier to grasp because it involves so many factors. It focuses on the body, feelings, and thoughts so that one can consciously overcome these cravings or hatred or ignorance in the world. Right mindfulness means to be aware of what is happening in the environment, but also in our thoughts. It means having awareness in every aspect of our life. The right mindfulness is like just being aware of the whole world. Like, you have to be aware of what's happening, what's inside of you right now, but also what's happening around you. It's your whole environment, and you have to see where you are in the world. A great technique that connects the body and mind is the practice of concentration of breathing during meditation. When we meditate, you let your mind flow loose. You let your mind connect with the universe, so you understand what is happening, and it's just not all about you. The eighth and final step is right concentration. This falls under the category of samadhi also. Once the mind is uncluttered from all these unworthy thoughts, it is then to be concentrated to achieve whatever is desired. Right concentration means to meditate to a high state of consciousness. It's another level that we reach in our mind. Meditating is a way that progressively realizes true understanding of imperfection and non-separation. This progressive step is the 4 stages of dhyana. Sorry if I mispronounced that. In the first step, passionate desires and unwholesome thoughts are discarded. In the second step, feelings of unhappiness and joy are still retained in the mind, but even then, the third step happens and joy disappears. In the final 4th step of the 4 stages of dhyana, all these sensations, even happiness, disappears. The only thing that remains is pure calmness and awareness. Thus, the mind is trained and disciplined and developed through right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. In conclusion, these are steps that must be followed if one wants to reach nirvana and escape suffering, if they want to escape the cycle of rebirth. From this brief presentation of the Noble Eightfold Path, people might see it as really strenuous and hard, but this is what people must do if they want to reach enlightenment. This path must be followed, practiced, and developed by each individual separately. It doesn't matter what the whole group is doing, but it's always just you. It is just self-discipline in the body, the mind, and just your word. It's just, if you really want it, then you have to change every aspect of your life. It's truly just self-development, just like any other self-development thing, like exercise. It is self-purification from all these hard thoughts or harmful thoughts in our mind. This truly has nothing to do with belief, prayer, worship, or ceremony. This is why Buddhism is sometimes believed to be considered both a religion and a way of life. It's not just a traditional religion like Christianity where you have to put your faith in it. Buddha wants you to test out in your own life what it is. Buddhism is a path leading to the realization of ultimate reality, to have complete freedom and happiness and peace through the right way, through the right morals and spiritual and intellectual perfection. The Four Noble Truths recognizes the imperfections in us and humans and teaches us how to overcome these attachments. And this allows us to reach enlightenment if we actually follow if we understand the Four Noble Truths and if we follow the Noble Eightfold Path. Once again, my name is Andrew Lieu, and this was a presentation about the Four Noble Truths and also the Noble Eightfold Path in Buddhism. I would also like to thank you for allowing me to take this class, because it really was a joy to take Intro to Buddhism this semester. I really got to learn more about my religion, because my family really is not spiritual or religious at all. But it was really eye-opening to take it. And once again, thank you.